If you're unfamiliar with Saskatchewan, driving through the prairies and then hitting Saskatoon can be a real shock. The city is packed with a variety of tree species and vibrant gardens. It's a stark contrast to the flatlands that lead to the city's limits. But the elms at Woodlawn Cemetery are particularly special. The trees are memorial elms lined with plaques. They honor fallen soldiers of the First World War. Elms were chosen for this purpose all across Canada because they are strong, easy to maintain, beautiful, and can live up to 400 years old. But in the 1900s, elms faced a mass wipeout due to the Dutch elm disease. Saskatchewan, however, was able to mitigate the disaster.
And they were able to actually essentially do for the trees kind of in a sense what we've been doing for the pandemic, where we have to understand patient zero and how things spread and how it moves. So they did all of that, and we kept Dutch elm disease out. And as a result of that, the memorial elms at the Woodlawn Cemetery are the last remaining memorial elms in our entire country.
Penner says people living here need to avoid taking elm trees for granted.
I sometimes have to hug an elm just to say thank you for being here. We love you. So I think trees grow better if they feel loved.
Over at the University of Saskatchewan is the Patterson Arboretum. There, you can find the fantastically shaped dragon spruce tree. The tree has been at Patterson since it was first established in 1966. It's special not only for its branches that stick out in full tufts, but also because it is an endangered species. The garden is dedicated to Dr. Cecil Patterson, who was the head of the Department of Horticultural Science at the university from 1922 to 1960.
This is our Swiss stone pine.
And it turns out the trees in the Arboretum are not the only things that remind visitors of Dr. Patterson. There's a plaque at the front of the garden in his honor.
And it kind of looks like a bit of kind of a tombstone in a way. So the students have a rumor that actually there's a body part of Dr. Patterson buried in the cement. They told me that way back when I was a student. And so hopefully not, but you never know. I've never been here at midnight. I'm too afraid to come.
Meanwhile, just outside of Saskatoon in the community of Grasswood is something special. There, Sarah Williams, a retired horticulture specialist, has turned her backyard into an actual forest. Dozens of gorgeous trees, most of them not native to Saskatchewan, including Scots pine and Colorado spruce, pepper Williams' property.
About 40 years ago, I moved to an acreage, and at that time it wasn't prairie, it was brome grass pasture, which is considerably more, it's horrible. Okay. I began planting trees at that time, and all of these trees were 10 inches or 12 inches at the very most. A lot of them were 6 inches high at that point.
These days, Williams Forest is lush with adult trees that continue to flourish in this dry climate. Williams certainly isn't the first to want to bring what she grew up with to Saskatchewan. In the early 1900s, many immigrants came to the province via the Canadian Pacific Railway to farm the land and settle here, and many were daunted by the vast prairies. According to researchers, for many Europeans, flowers and gardens symbolize civilization and success. So, railway gardens occupied Saskatchewan from the late 1800s to just shortly after World War II.
When people would be on the trains coming through, new people settling in the area, stopping at these point of entries, it was a way of making a good first impression. They felt that these gardens can instill good moral values in people, good civic pride, and help make better Canadian citizens.
The Canadian Pacific Railway had gardens at a handful of stations, including Kennedy, Broadview, Moose Jaw, Swift Current, and Regina. The railway gardens are gone now, but Saskatchewan residents have had no problem filling their backyards and cities with beautiful and nostalgic plants. It's a perfect reminder for us to take time and smell the flowers. Laura Sciarpelletti, CBC News, Regina.